Good morning and welcome to Little Greek. And before we get going with that, just a reminder, normal isn't coming back, but Jesus is coming back. So today we're going to take a look at 2 Corinthians 10. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and everything that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Well, look at the very beginning of that. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. That word warfare, in the concordance, it is G4752. It's the Greek word strateia. It means military service or warfare. To contend with carnal inclinations. And from this word, we get the modern word strategy. And you have to have a strategy for everything. You have to have a strategy for life. You have to have a strategy for warfare. And in the same way, our strategy is different than God's strategy. The strategy of man is to survive at all costs. I've got to survive. God's strategy, however, is for our flesh to die so that He can reign. I'm reminded of the old movie Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi and Daniel. And Mr. Miyagi took Daniel outside to his garden and he had him wax the car. Wax on, wax off. So this is what Daniel did all day. Wax on and then wax off. And finally, at the end of the day, Mr. Miyagi came to him, and I know I'm not getting this right, but he came to him and said, "Oh, what did you learn?" And Daniel was kind of, upset. So Mr. Miyagi went to punch him, and he throws the arm up to block, and he punches from the other side, and he throws up another arm to block. Without realizing it, he was learning not just how to wax it on and off, but he was learning how to block the attacks of his enemies. Even so, for us, how do we contend with those things? One of the big things is to bless and not curse. But also in Psalm 144, it says, "Blessed be the Lord, my rock and my great strength, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle." Interesting, huh? So, we must learn to contend with our natural tendencies, to contend with our enemy and our flesh. How do we contend with our natural tendencies and how do we contend with our enemy? They're two opposite things. But God trains us how to war. And one of the biggest things that He trains us to do is when the enemy comes at us with accusation, He doesn't tell us to block with the left or block with the right, but He says, confess your sins. Confess them quickly. When the enemy comes at you and says, "Well, you messed up here, you messed up there," just say, "You're right, I have sinned," and go to the Father and ask the Father for forgiveness. It's that simple. Hard sometimes, but it's that simple. So, learn to bless and not curse. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.